Well, we are live 16 minutes later from when my computer decided to restart itself without my telling it was okay. So, good. I'm glad I was able to get online here. So let me put this tweet out. So computer's running a little bit slow. Might be a little bit laggy here for a little bit. Hold on one second. Let me just check this real quick. Dun, 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 dun. All right. Whew, I can't believe it. Everything just finally loaded up. I mean, even like Thinkorswim was taking forever to load up. So if it's a little bit laggy, then I apologize. It's definitely inspirational to get a new system pretty soon. But in the meantime, you know, it is what it is. So we got what we got. So and I'm glad everything got loaded up and we're able to kind of jump into review. So goodness. So right now futures are up again. So it's like, goodness, I guess I'm gonna have to start getting bullish soon. You know, I feel like I'm late to the party. You know, I mean, there were a couple good long trades. I mean, that that we capitalized on or could have capitalized on with the 15-minute orb. So, you know, intraday, like no problem. Like there's a lot of scalping opportunities, a lot of trading opportunities. I'm pretty excited. Just kind of jump right into it with the $500 to $50,000 challenge. McDonald's we've been looking for a while. Just kind of want to show you big picture what's been happening. If we go to the daily. Dun, dun, dun. If we go to the daily, right? So we had a wave one up here, from the lows, from the 87.5 lows, right? Pull back to wave two, right? And then nice impulsive move up here to wave three, right? And wave four, of course, triangles, and we'll talk about corrective waves today in the Elliott wave training. But triangles are a corrective wave, and so typically it's about like five, A, B, C, D, E, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So A, B, C, D, E is your triangle, right? And those only occur in fourth waves or B waves, and so that gave you your 4. So what comes after 4? 5, right? And so we had a nice impulsive move up here, and so looks like after the wave 5 completion, we had a 5 wave down, right? Which would have given us a what we know by having 5 waves, and we'll talk about the corrections today. We know this is going to be a zigzag, right? And then so we just needed the B correction back up, right? And so it followed up through this channel very nicely, and this actually was a zigzag as well. So we saw here. Let me go to the lower time frame. Okay, so I'm going to kind of zoom in here. All right, so we're going to dissect this wave here, right? So we had a 1, 2, right? 2 didn't go past wave 1, an impulsive wave 3, right? A, B, C wave 4, right? And then boom, 5, right? Then the next one, all right, so that's 5, so we know it's going to be a zigzag up. Then we had A, B, C down, right? And so next here, look, was wave 1, A, B, C 2, right? Never took out the bottom of wave 1, so that's good. Then we had 3, 4, and then sometimes I don't know why this moves around like this, but and then 5. So this is 5, and so that finished our B wave to the top side, and it was right at it pivoted right at the top of this this channel, right? And so we entered, I think it was like 180 and 20 cents. I was at a meeting or whatever this morning, but it did hit that 182 mark. Where I was hoping to get in, and obviously I missed that, but it's okay. It gave us a good pivot, and so so we entered here, and it looks like here it could potentially be, from this top here, it could be a 1, 2, and I'm looking for an impulsive wave 3 down. We might see a little bit of a 4 pullback, and then 5, and that should get us right there. That's the I mean, goodness, it could, I think we're good. I mean, the 18th is all the way over here. I think it's a little bit sharper than that, right? I mean, you can see this impulsive move down took like 12.19, took 2 days, took 3 days, right? So hopefully we'll see that type of move down, and certainly with Powell talking tomorrow, there should be a good opportunity if it brings the market down. So, and a lot of things are setting up that way. So anyway, so this is our first trade for the $50,000 challenge. I didn't want to trade into the event, but I think Justin had mentioned that these events happen all the time, right? So there's always something. There's always China talk. There's always an FOMC meeting. There's always all that. And so that's kind of a good point, because when we go back and look at charts, if we go back to our daily charts, and we wouldn't worry about all the fuss. And I do think it's fun to know what's going on in the world and what might be affecting markets and all that stuff. But the reality is, price is price, and it moves according to patterns and laws and action, reaction, and physics and all that stuff. And so when you see a setup, I mean, you have to take it. And so my thought is that in the Fed meeting, just because of the setup, it'll potentially bring it down somehow. So, and there's some other ways to look at that too. So if we go to the other than the futures being up right now, gosh, and it's getting really close to that 2600. But other than the futures being up, we kind of reviewed recently. We go back to the bar chart here. So we had the 2018 channel, right? So and then we had the impulsive wave down, wave 1, ABC wave 2, and possibly a wave 3. And then I think I took off the Fibonacci here, but of this wave, we were at we're at the pitchfork median line, right, going through the entire year. So this is a huge line. Yeah, is it possible it wants to retest these levels? Certainly, if it does and it rejects those levels, it's even, in my opinion, it's even more bearish, right? Because what is it really doing, right? If it's taking this level and it's reclaiming 61%, we'll talk about Fibonacci's more tomorrow, but if it's reclaiming that would imply that that's probably more of like a maybe a wave 2, right? So maybe this whole wave right here was an impulsive wave 1, right? 1, 2, 3. Actually, impulsive wave. So if this was, so this is just the beginning of a wave 3 instead of a wave 4 pullback, right? So it'd be a sub wave. So this could have been wave 1 right here, and this is actually a wave 2, and that's going to give us another wave 3 push here to complete, and then 4 or 5 to complete a bigger wave 3. So we'll see. It is definitely really interesting. So I wanted, before I jumped into the lesson today, I did want to go over to the Qs real quick, and I kind of, what is setting up more potentially is that scenario with the Qs right here. So I know it's really clustered here, and so let me just pull that up. So what did happen here is very, the setup, most of the markets are very similar to each other, right? So we hit our double top, so this would have been, right, wave 1, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. It is setting up a little bit differently here. Yeah, because that was a B wave. So 1 is actually right here on the, wait, no, it did it. Yes, this is wave 1, A, B, C. Sorry, I don't have it labeled. So the low there, was 160.09, and we took it out by a penny here, or 2 pennies today. So 160.11. So that invalidates this as a wave 1, right? And this is a wave 4. So what doesn't necessarily invalidate this as a wave 1, it just says this is definitely not the wave 4 of the next wave. And so to me, that implies that it's either, there's 2 scenarios, right? This could have been, some sort of A wave down and we're working for a B wave up, or the other scenario, that this wave 3 is not finished forming, and this was a wave 1 of wave 3, and we're just working on a wave 2 pullback, and then we'll get the big push down. It's hard to say, we just have to see, but all I know is that the Qs are doing pretty good. I mean, Amazon, I never would have expected it to do this, but it is totally climbing up the reaction line here. I mean, this reaction line here, here's the main pivot, right, of this pitchfork, right, and you have two action lines beforehand, mirrored back over, give you these reactions, and look how it's just climbing up this entire thing. It is incredible, all the way down from 1307. I never would have expected to do this, but it just blows your mind, what a genius Alan Andrews was, because look at that, it's climbing right up this reaction line here. I mean, almost for 300 points. I mean, you almost, next time I'll know better to recognize that. It's incredible just watching that happen. So yeah, so I mean, it's one way to count waves. It's another way to use it in combination, to use Elliott wave in combination with other things that are going on. That's why I like to use the pitchforks and the action-reaction lines. And it just helps us identify other possible scenarios to help us get a better position. So But I do feel really good about the McDonald's setup. Otherwise, I wouldn't have taken it. So that's that. So today we're gonna just talk about. I know it was kind of a little long-winded there, just as a recap of the markets in our $550,000 challenge. But today I want to talk about corrective waves. So just to recap, we talked about impulsive waves or motive waves the other day, right? We talked about opening diagonals and closing diagonals, and we talked about truncated fifth waves, and we talked about impulsive waves, which are the 5-wave patterns, right? So hopefully, I've been seeing a lot of great tweets from you guys, on different patterns that you guys are recognizing, which is awesome. And then, something I was thinking about today is anytime you see a 5-wave pattern, right, you can pretty much assume that there's going to be a correction soon. So that's something to think about, for your trading. Kind of repertoire. We see a 5-wave up at like Netflix, the 5th wave right here, right? You can pretty much assume there's going to be a pullback, right? And how much would that pullback be? It would be, and then we'll talk about more of this with Fibonacci, but 23%, right? And so as soon as it kind of hit that level, it did give us a pullback from about where was that? 320 down to 308. So, it could have been an A, B, C, and we could see that again back down to that 300 level. So, just little things those little things you can do to capitalize on trades, right? So, we'll analyze that a little bit more later, but pretty interesting stuff. Okay, so today we're going to talk about corrective waves, and so just as there's impulse waves, right? We also have the corrective phase, right? And we showed that the other day. Let me go back to the SPX. I had a better drawing up there. Corrective waves are just that. What they do is they correct, or they go in the opposite direction of of the main trend. And so, obviously the market's been going up super high for a while. And so here, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, and then what happened after 5? So you have 5 waves up, 3 waves down, right? If you're going here, I kind of showed you if you have 5 waves down, then you'll get 3 waves up, right? But after every wave is a corrective wave, right? So even in this motive wave, we have corrective waves. So wave 2 is a corrective wave, and wave 4 is a corrective wave, right? So within this wave, even though it just looks like one thing, right? So wave 1 is going to be 5 waves up, unless it's a diagonal. Wave 2 is going to be all right. There's three types of corrective waves. Okay, so the first one is, and I'll write this down. The first one we could have is a flat, right? The second one we could have, and let me actually do this. Flat is 3, 3, 5, and I think about that because the first part of it is is compressed. So 3, 3, 5. It's flat, right? There's a zigzag, which is 5, 3, 5. And that kind of makes sense, right? It's zigzag, so you're going big to small to big, so 5, 3, 5. And then the last one is a triangle, which is 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. So let me draw that up there. Okay, so these are your different types right here. So you have a flat, which is 3, 3, 5, and so so all that means is the composition, right? If we go into this wave 2 right here, it's if we look at how that looks, it's going to look like this. It's going to look like right. So first wave down, corrective down, A, B, C would be the first part of the wave, and then we'd give you another A, B, C. And then it would give you a 5 wave. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, that doesn't work. It overlapped, but whatever that. 1, 2. So A, B, C, A, B, C. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. So this, I know it looks kind of funky, but it's a flat structure, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, so 3, A, B, C, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that is a flat. Okay. Now, something that you should note is that flats are usually actually pretty flat. They usually go about, kind of in this direction. They're kind of flat. They're not really spiky, or their slope of it isn't really high or really positive or really negative. Now a zigzag is a little bit different. A zigzag will be have a high slope. So if we go back to McDonald's, not only was the first corrective part of this McDonald's trade, right? This first trade was impulsive, right? It had a pretty big move down, and it's this too would be 1 A B triangle, because B can be a triangle, C overshoot, right, which gives you another push down. So so that's 2, and then right 1 2 right 3 4 5, so wave 3 4 and then 5. So this gave us a 5-wave move down. That was an impulsive move down. That was the first part of a zigzag, right? And then here it's then it looks like here it kind of put in like a shorter zigzag up to get us to B, and then so that would be wave, but that's 3 waves, A, B, C, right? And then it's going to give us a wave, should give us an impulsive wave down to complete the zigzag structure. So that kind of shows that. Okay, so that's a zigzag, right? The flats can be broken up into a couple different pieces. A flat can be a regular flat, which basically A goes down, B is less than the length of A, and then C usually is less than the length of B. So it's just kind of like this flattish structure. Or it can be an expanded flat, and I can't remember which one gave us that recently. I'll point it out if we see one, but in general, let me see if this was. See here, this corrective structure right here, this A, B, C, that's just a regular flat, right? Because it fell really short of the length of wave 1, so there's A. B didn't extend past the length of wave A, and then C didn't extend past the length of wave B. So this is just a real classic textbook, flat here on the SPX. And then we saw McDonald's, which gave us a good zigzag. Now here, this corrective structure right here, which may, like I said, might actually be a 2, or we might be working on the wave 4. But either way, it does kind of look like it's getting impulsive, right? This almost looks like a wave 1 up, and this is a 2, and then maybe we'll get 3. I don't know, and then 4, and then 5. So it's really hard to tell at this point. It needs to hold here. It really needs to hold that 2600 level for us to be, to stay where we're at with our account. So, all right. So that is those types of flats. So we talked about 3 different types of flats, and then of course there's triangles, right? So triangles are the third one. So let me go back to daily so I can scroll up there. Okay, triangle. Okay, there we go. All right, so a triangle is going to be of the form 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. Okay, and a little tedious to count, but a triangle is just that. It is a triangle, right? So, and you'll see these, all over FinTwit and all that stuff. But ultimately, what's going to happen, right? Let's say, kind of comes up here, and then we have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Or A, B, C, D, E. Okay, and so in those triangles, each of these waves here is going to be 3 waves down. So that'll be 3 waves down, 3 waves up, 3 waves down, 3 waves up, 3 waves down. Right. So if you get into the guts of it, if you go down to the the 15-minute chart or the 5-minute chart, depending on what time frame you're looking at, you'll be able to count an ABC down, ABC up, ABC down, ABC up, ABC down. Right. And I do think, yeah. So I think you can have a triangle in here as well, but usually it's not wave E. I think it could be the B wave of this, but I'd have to get some more clarity on that. But for the most part, you're going to see 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. That's your textbook triangle. And then that would essentially be, like in McDonald's, that would be your wave 4, completion. So, yep. So those are the different types. So we have we talked about flat, we talked about zigzag, we talked about triangle, and the reason that we have corrections is because what goes up must come down, and what goes down must come up. Right? Every action is an equal opposite reaction. Right? It just shows. It just gives you a pause, right? It's in the greater direction of a trend, and so so that's kind of the debate among Elliott Wavers with the market right here. Is it? Are we? Let me go to the weekly. I don't know how far I can pull back here. Let's go 10 years. So some people are like, okay, maybe this is just like a wave 4 correction to a bigger wave 5 that's coming up, right, for the most part. So that's the thing. That's the trick about Elliott Wave is we just have to use the rules and what we know to give us positions and standpoints of where we are, right? It's not 100% totally random. We don't know exactly what's going on, right? Anything can happen, but we have to be able to adapt and react to it, and Elliott Wave gives you a good way to do that. So hopefully that was helpful. Just kind of wanted to go over that part of Elliott Wave. Tomorrow is going to be really fun. We're going to go over Fibonacci and how to use different Fibonacci retracements and extensions to essentially to predict where we're at, to give assumptions of where we're at in terms of wave, but also so for when we enter a wave. So like for instance with SPX, here I might think about doing some sort of short, because look, we've retraced into the 50% into the 50 percentile, and then I would look for where my target would be. It might extend, it might go all the way down to the bottom of this wave, but it might go 1.618 of that too. So it gives us potential target points to move stops and to figure out where we're going. So that'll be fun for tomorrow. As for the game plan for tomorrow, Tesla is going to be moved back to the 30-minute orb, but I know a bunch of you were successful with Tesla, today and I think yesterday. Roku is going to be on the 30-minute orb list, because actually it's going to be on the 15-minute orb list because of Citron piping in today. So that gave us a follow-up day 2 for tomorrow. Yeah, and we're gonna have. I was like, why didn't this save? It was because my computer shut down. Yeah, so SWKS, they came out and gave an earnings report that was or early guidance on earnings that was negative, and so that's going to be on the 15 orb list for tomorrow. And for the most part, just have going to go off of some of the stuff that I've been tweeting. So I just want to update that real quick, and then okay, we'll get to that in a little bit. And that's all I got. So that's all for Corrective Waves. So hopefully that makes sense. And at this point, if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to dig in a little bit deeper. And then at the same time, if you have any chart requests, I'm happy to take a look at that too. So okay, so let's see. Jay Kosai, what's going on? Made it. Good to see you. Prayer Kid, awesome. Good to see you. Great job with your Nadex. Javier, how's it going? Yeah, I know, laggy. I know, I'm telling you. Sorry about that. It's just my computer. It was updating. It took 15 minutes for it to update. That just tells me I need to upgrade. But good to see you guys. Kevin, yep, glad it came. I know, seriously, I didn't need it to be delayed. Kyle, what's going on, my friend? Good to see you. Orange Dom Guides, what's going on? Yep, my pleasure, always. Merritt, always good to have you here. Okay, so Jay Kosik, hedging my McDonald's put by eating at their lunch. Yeah, right. Oh wait, Clayton, what's going on, man? Good to have you here. Yeah. Tomorrow's gonna be a big day. It should be interesting. I'm feeling pretty pumped about it. So, Cat in Space, good to see you. Babwa, good to see you. D-Gaz, let's see how D-Gaz is looking. So, D-Gaz. All right, so D-Gaz, interesting. Okay, it's a little bit different. And this is okay. So we had inside month last month, right? Attempted to take that to the upside, but came back in a little bit. So so that is interesting. This is just not showing up today. Okay. It's working on inside week. We had inside week the following week, gapped up. You know, kind of came back in, gave you a bit of a shooting star, but now it's going inside week here. But it does look like it's kind of working on an uptrend. The ADX is showing that as well. You know, big move down here. This looks like almost a you know, wave one down, all right, and then you know, some sort of like A, B, you know, C correction right here. So that's wave two, you know, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, 5 perhaps. So that's wave three, and you could be working on a wave 4 correction right here. Let's just kind of get an idea of where we're at there. Yeah, it looks like it's got a little room. I mean, it could, you know, run up to, wow, that's a lot of room if you look at it. If you base it off this whole thing, it looks like it could go to 150. But let's see, in the hourly, nice inside 60 anchor for you. Not a lot of volume on this one, right? So it's you know, probably a little bit difficult to trade. But let's see if we can see here if there's anything. Like, this thing likes to gap a lot, doesn't it? It is tough to tell on the pitchfork right here just because of the gap. So, but it does look like it's working its way up, right? We might want to try to fill this gap next. So that looks pretty interesting. Brandon, what's going on? Hey, my pleasure. Thank you guys for jumping in. AC, how's it going? Shirley, how are you? Nathan, missed the first trade. Looks like it was back at entry. Yeah, literally. I am. I'll post when I post the chart later. It literally closed that option closed at 33 cents. So I'm completely flat. I'm not flat, but break even on it right now. So I don't know. See how. Yeah, we're still kind of gapping up a little bit, but you know, if it comes back in, like I said, it looks like it's a good setup. So could be good entry, exactly, yeah. So it could be a good entry tomorrow. Chris, what's going on? The McDonald's was going to ask you the time frame you thought it would take. We read my mind. Okay, good. Yeah, it's got to do it before expiration, definitely. So, but it might do it sooner. And like I said, this one's the first trade. You know, if it doesn't go to, you know, like a 5x trade or a 10x trade, you know, if things are looking good and, you know, we're moving tomorrow, you know, we might move our kind of our stop level up just to make sure that we're profitable on the trade. You know, and then that'll give us some momentum going into the next one. Paul, what's going on, man? Delassie, how are you? Always good to see you. Manoj, what's up? Kyle G. All right, do you see AFA following the trend of Tilray anytime soon? Good question. Let me see. I mean, Tilray is, like, you know, kind of in a world of its own. This one's kind of hard to tell. It still looks, you know, kind of bearish. I mean, like, so this could be here. Looks like a 1, right? A, B, C, wave 3. You know, maybe here it's kind of working on some sort of complex correction, wave 4, and then it might go back down. So it's hard to say. You know, these wellness stocks tend to do well in bear markets. So if the bear market holds, you know, you might get some more movement on this one. So in time, but we need to crack through these certain levels that we're at right now. Excuse me. Yeah, Chris, exactly. So, I mean, I'm not going to hold these to expiration. So right now, I mean, the 15th is my limit. So if, you know, we're profitable by January 15th, you know, we'll just take profit then. And yeah, no, you're right. No, totally, yeah. So, but we'll just take profit early if we have to. It's no big deal. And find the next trade. Let's see. FOMC won't hurt the market they saw last time. We'll see. Seems very restricted. How do you allow for that? It's a great question, but you just have to go with your counts, right? So whatever you see, you know, you adjust for that. Manoj, hi, can you explain the chart time settings you have to explain ELLIOTT wave and other stock charts, just high level kind of setting? Yeah, so basically, just like when I go through the candlestick charts and we look at the monthlies and the weeklies and the dailies, you can do that too, right? And so when we look at the bigger time trends, right? You can go all the way to the monthly and be like, okay, so what's really going on, big picture, right? And then there's a way of numbering and addressing everything. But right now I'm just gonna kind of go I can't really do circles yet in for like a super cycle wave 1, right, and all that stuff. So I'm just gonna kind of get the basics. But here, you would say like, hey, this is wave 1, and on AFA, and then maybe we're working on an A, kind of B, kind of C type correction. So wave 2, this could be like a super cycle wave 2, and it might, to kind of give you broader perspective, give you like a huge wave 3. So you could be looking at right now potentially setting up for a wave 3 up, right? And so so that's your week, that's your monthly, and then as you go to weekly too, kind of gives you the same perspective. This is a little bit harder because it's such a kind of such a young stock, but it just kind of gives you the idea. And then you can drill down to the lower time frames to see the components and what's making up the larger waves. And then can kind of trade off with those. Now you don't want to go too low on it, right? If you go to like the 1 minute chart, you're just going to drive yourself nuts. But I'll go as low as 15 just to kind of get clarity. Hourly is my favorite time frame to trade on anyway. So and it gives you kind of enough days and all that stuff to get enough trend to swing trade something. And then when you go down to the 15 chart, you can kind of get get the internal counts of those 60-minute bars, and it all adds up. So if that makes sense. AC win. Let's see how that's looking. Okay, we took a look at this this recently here. So major low here at 49.95, right? Traded well with the 15 orbs, like through through earnings and things like that. So big pivot here. It seems to have held this pitchfork support. And so at this point, this can't be a wave 2, right? Because it overlapped this one. So looks more like maybe some sort of corrective phase at this point, but it's hard to tell just yet. This could have been the end of the wave here, and then maybe that was like a 4 and this is a 5, and so now we're kind of working on working its way back up. So just keep an eye on it. As long as it's inside this pitchfork, you've got a good shot at for eventually working its way back up to the median line. Hopefully that helps. Can't see your notes. Sorry, Ashwin. All I did is wrote down zigzag, flat, and triangle, and I just kind of did their nomenclature. So zigzag is going to be 535, flat's going to be 335, and then the triangle is 33333. So sorry about the notes. I just kind of plugged them in, and then probably the scan went away from it. So sorry about that. With the pitchfork drawing or fib lines, how do you generally pick anchor points? Okay, good question. So the best way to do it is to you got to experiment with it a little bit, but you want to find, just like pick any, kind of JP Morgan. I don't think I've done one on there. So here, no, I did one in the past. Let me find one I haven't really messed with. Maybe Target. Okay, yeah, so no pitchfork on here. So looks like I have started trying some ELLIOTT wave on it. But when you do pitchfork, right? So a pitchfork, you want to pick 3 pivots, right? So they have to go to pivots. But what you want to do is you want to find where that median line is going to land, right? Where it represents another point of inflection, right? So this is actually pretty good because here you can see this median line was significant to where it gapped down, right? So it came down the median line and jumped over it, kind of came up to it and came back in, right? So now, it would look like it wants to try that again. So when you draw it, you don't want to just like be like, hey, this is my pitchfork, blah blah blah. They're all relevant, but they're more significant if you can get the median line to match up with another significant pivot or a point. And another idea is too, if the more you can incorporate, right, is if you can get this median line to line up with other points, right? So let's say here, like as if it were a trend line. So this works too. You You see how this median line, it started here, and then it started 1, 2, 3. It's already got 3 points as that was prior resistance, right, and then became support and came back up. So that's a good one too. And in fact, let me use that one and just look. And you can see too that median line worked here as well as a pivot point. It still worked there. So this is a little bit better because it takes into account a couple of these kind of trend line resistance points, and then you usually get a little bit better, a little more accurate one, right? And then you can draw your reaction lines, and then you just go from here to here, and then find another significant point. Let's say I like it when it crosses through multiple pivots. So there it went through a top pivot and a bottom pivot. Then you just duplicate it and move it over. Boom. So now you've got a reaction line where this thing could find some sort of like resistance, support, or something like that. So that's kind of the way you pick it. So just where the other lines make more sense elsewhere, if that makes sense. So yeah, what's going on, Aaron? What's up? Nuke forever. Okay, VLO. Manoj, what's going on? All right, so VLO. All right, Valero, let's see. So we've got, that looks interesting. Nice pivots. I like the pivot here. Oh, no, look at that. I was doing a parallel line. Yeah, look at how it bounced right off. If you guys have that volume profile loaded, look how it bounced off of that volumetric support line and right back up. So any of these things you can kind of incorporate into, right? So you can look here, right, at where these different levels are. Like you have some volumetric support and resistance here at the what level is that? 117, and you'll notice a lot of times it matches up on your pitchfork too. So 117, you could look at it as a possible target, right? So to be like, hey, I had volumetric resistance. Let me see how it might take 5 waves up or something like that to get to your 117 on Valero. So if you want to look, monthlies inside, weekly spinning top so far, daily. Looks like it came in a little bit at the end. Yeah, so yeah, so it looks interesting, but it looks like it is working its way up. So here's another volumetric level here too. So just keep that in mind. That might be one possible point. It could have been a 3. Yeah, 1, ABC 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Potentially 5. Here. And then might be working its way up, some sort of corrective pattern, maybe a zigzag A, B, C, to kind of get to that area. So watch out for the 200-day moving average as well. Jesse, what's going on, man? Yeah, I know we're underway. It's we're not capping as much as the futures aren't up as much as they were. So tomorrow's a big day. So like we said earlier, it's the trade. It was so compelling, I had to take it. So and then there's a good opportunity that the market goes down tomorrow as well. So but if not, the McDonald's doesn't seem to be as affected by the overall market either. So it seems to it likes to kind of trade its own way too. What's going on, Ashwin? J. Kosek, Starbucks, a few cents from another inside day. I know, exactly. Yeah, so Starbucks is looking pretty good. Tweeted out earlier. This too, has given a couple decent entries. It hasn't made any major moves off of it, but the way it's forming is is really good, right? So I believe that this was a wave 3 top here, and so we have a corrective pattern to finish wave 4 right here. So it would be an ABC, right? So this is your corrective phase. So there's a review from today's lesson, ABC. So that's 3, right? So it already starts with a 3. So it's either going to be a triangle or, right, a flat. So ABC, ABC. All right, so that's 3, 3. All right, this could be a triangle or a flat now. And then we can count 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Doesn't overlap 1. I don't think it did. Yep, didn't overlap 1, and then 5. Okay, so we have a whole flat structure down here, and then at this point, I was looking for, a possible entry back up. So, it gave us an impulsive wave 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for wave 1, and then this was a really good number a couple days ago. This 6150 would have been great to capture here, but it's still kind of working its way up, right? So we have 1, 2. This is another good position. And then 1, 2, and then if anything, this should launch pretty soon. Otherwise, it's just doing some weird complex correction. But it looks like it's ready to go. So Starbucks is looking good too. Yeah, and like you said, if it's an inside day as well, it could be pretty good too for a breakout there. So, and then you have the inside month that it could break out as well, which is what made this one really interesting. So, Samir, what's going on? Let's see what we got. Brandon. Sorry, it takes a second to load the message. Twilio. Let's check out Twilio. Twilio's looking pretty good. Hammer month followed by, we're kind of like we tagged just above it. Look at that volumetric line too. Weekly, so belt hold day, Yorikiri day. Week. So, but it's not done yet. But it's taking this sort of this, spinning top, almost a hammer. It's kind of taking that up, so that's good. Big push today, but not a lot of follow through on it. So last 2 days have been pretty big push, but nice gap up that it's still holding. And then let's see the 60s. Inside 60 anchor to close. It's got to hold these levels, right? This volume levels here. So if it starts to drop below it, it's got pretty long way to fall. So it needs to be constrained. The buyers need to come in on this one. And then in general, let's see. In general, it looks like it's working its way up. It looks like 3, 4, 5. A, B, C. I kind of worked on this a while ago. Somebody else. A, B, C. Yeah, it could be working its way back up here. 1, 2. Might be working on a 3. So 1, 2, 3. So it looks like it could get some push to the upside. Let's just look triangle it. Let's pitchfork it here. See if we got anything good down here. Those are always fun. Twilio does like to jump around. But it is holding this median line right here. So after a nice gap up, so it might pull back a little bit and then then give you a nice little launch back up to this 111 kind of 111 level. So it's definitely worth looking there. Prayer Kid, hey man, my pleasure. Yeah, it's always fun. Starks pull back this week, right? Yeah. So with Starbucks, it's kind of there, right? So if it pulls back any further, I don't know, to kind of reevaluate it. Yep. Winchu, this is Thinkorswim. So yeah, Thinkorswim. Rookie Trader. Can you explain more on orbs? Is there a video lesson on it already and how to draw the bound lines and time frames, please? Yeah. So with orbs, right? So you go to so any time frame, right? So if we look at, that was actually a pretty good one here. So Twilio, I think, even had some news on it today too, didn't it? It was I didn't tweet it out as a 15 orb stock. It had something, yeah, KeyBank. I just was like, okay, KeyBank is okay, but anyway. But if you traded this 15 orb, right? So you have a $3 range. This is your first 15-minute bar of the day, and then your entry, right, would either be here at the bottom of the orb or up here at the top of the orb, right? And so the next bar opened a little bit above it, right, and then it finally broke through it there. So that's your shorting position, where you get puts, as long as they're pretty liquid, right? And then here you would have traded this down, right, down, 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 down. So that would have been good all the way from 97, basically down to 92, depending how you manage the trade, right? If you just trailed it bar by bar, you'd have had to stop here, stop here, stop here, stop here, and you would have gotten stopped out at about 94. So you would have made about 3 points on that trade. Just if you're just trading shares, if that makes sense. So that's just basically how you look at them. This would have been okay to trade, right? Because it did have an upgrade on it, and just didn't go in the direction of the gap. It tested both ends, but that's why we wait 15 minutes, right? Because there's that buying and selling pressure on it that gives you, kind of the lines in the sand on the top and the bottom of where, where there's support and resistance and all that stuff. And look, it came down, and guess where it came all the way up to? Right to the bottom of that 15 orb at the end of the day. So these are good lines to reference, right? Tesla had more news today, like Larry Ellison was coming in, big guns, big money, and all that stuff. I hope it doesn't puke on him, otherwise it's gonna regret that decision. But there's your 15-minute orb right there, right? And I think a couple of you guys caught it today. So came, gave you a hammer, started, came up, short right here, 339. If you follow your candlesticks down, stop here, stop here, stop here, stop here. So you'd have been 339 all the way down to 329. So another 10-point move here. So it was 10 points to the upside yesterday there on that 15-minute orb, right? 10 points there, up, and then 10 points down. So good old Tesla and the 15 orbs. Thank you, news and volatility. We appreciate it. So hopefully that makes a little more sense. Merit, what's the difference between billing, we band, and Fibonacci? Like Bollinger Band? Does Option Snip use Bollinger Band when yeah, that's what he's talking about. He's using Bollinger Bands. Yeah, Bollinger Bands, I read a small book on it recently. I mean, I don't really trade off of it, but basically the idea is it just uses, basically I think it takes like a moving average, and then it does like a couple standard deviations above it and a couple standard deviations below it, and then it just gives you a good point of reference to trade off of. And so, but yeah, he seems to rely on that a lot in a lot of his notes. Who else? Mystery Trader uses it too. So, there's some merit to it. I just don't use it for levels, but you can just because you see all the lines I have on my screen already. If I add like Bollinger Bands, it's like really tough to track it. But there is some validity to it. I mean, one of the things I did read, is if you get a good bounce, if you see a good pivot at a Bollinger Band low or high, and your RSI is either oversold, it's a good place to go long, or if it's like, say here, if it's overbought, and you're at the top of the Bollinger Band, it's a good place to go short. So, a couple little tricks like that. But and then you said the difference between that and Fibonacci. Yeah, Fibonacci's is totally different, right? So we'll talk about it more tomorrow. But yeah, Fibonacci just kind of gives you Fibonacci is are found everywhere in nature, right? And so since the market is kind of like this big organism with a lot of millions and millions of minds and computers and all that stuff, right? It's essentially like a living organism or a natural organism, right? And so it responds is very similar to a lot of the things that we see in nature. And so Fibonacci is just kind of a way of seeing how things expand and contract based on just kind of a simple mathematical discovery. So a little bit different than Bollinger Bands, but yeah. Samir, sure, if I can. Melly and Shop. Yeah, let's see what we got. Okay, so Melly is right, big green inside month, right? You're working your week so far. Real lots of choppy here on the days, right? I mean, this is like some sort of crazy complex correction, right? Just really tough to label. So if this were like a wave one, this could be like, ABC, that would be like an X wave, ABC, Y, ABC, Z, and then there's usually another wave in between, which makes your X waves. So it's like working on some sort of two wave. This might have been the end here, and then possibly working its way down. So right now it's struggling with the 200-day moving average, right? So your 200-day came up, it hit the 200-day, came up, tried it again, went below it, tried it again. So just watch how it reacts around this 200-day moving average on this one. And then in general, let's just see how pitchfork-wise it's looking. Pretty much what you're going to see here is it does look like it's holding this 279 level pretty well. But it is holding. I mean, kind of like this. It's just a lot of back and forth. It's tough to read, right? Yeah, this could be 1, 2, maybe 1, 2. Maybe it's working on a 3. Maybe this is kind of like a 4. Hard to really tell. Might be a triangle working on. Yeah, this could be a 4. It's kind of working on, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Overshoots a triangle. Yeah, I mean, if anything, it's more bullish than bearish. So, long term, it looks like it could, if it gets over this median line, breaks through the triangle. I mean, it could get pretty high. So that is interesting. And then Shop. Wow, that's holding up pretty good too. Just trying to see what that looks like. Oh, it's some sort of channel it's working on. It's almost like a bull flag it's working on. right? It's kind of bull flagging. See if see if we can break out. See if we can get like a little breakout here over 162. To see if we can at least get back up to like 175. So that does look interesting. Strong stock. Hopefully that helps. Macro McDonald's. Curious which 5 we finished. Thanks. Yeah. So macro McDonald's. On the daily. Yeah, and I wouldn't be too surprised if that were the case, right? So, it's definitely not truncated. I mean, you had a huge wave 3, big wave 1, and all that stuff. So it's seems kind of odd, right? Maybe the wave 5 under here, but it's not impossible, right? So it was an impulsive 5th wave up. I mean, it might be working on a big macro like wave 5 up. Usually it's not that extended. So, I do think this correction is that we're seeing right now is calculated and legitimate. So. But it could, ultimately, like long term, be working on, this could be like 1, 2, this could be like a 3, and we could just be working on a, a super cycle wave 5 or something like that. So, but it's getting really steep here, so it does seem like a good pullback is warranted. AC, Pan W, and Tilray. Yeah, I do want to look at Tilray. I was seeing a lot of stuff on Twitter that I just didn't get a chance to look at it today. So Pan W, let's see, lots of chop going on. Right, it finally kind of broke out of this level right here. You can see that became support, and now it's resistance. So at this point, did give earnings. Yeah, back on the 29th, and I guess it just hasn't got above it yet. I have an old alert on that one, so I think it was like a 15 orb that we used that day, and it just never moved. But it does look like it's kind of coming back up above it, so you never know. This could be a breakout point here over 192, 193. So keep an eye on that. And then Tilray. So Tilray never broke our descending triangle, right? So it looks like it overshot it right here. So so this may have become like really good support potentially, or it's an overshoot, sort of like an overshoot here, and it might come back in, but never broke out below it. But yeah, pretty big move today. Jesse, what's going on? So Shutterfly. Yeah, that's looking pretty good too in terms of a looks like it's correcting right now, right? So maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then this is working in kind of an A wave. These are ones you don't want to just jump in long, right? Because it's working on a corrective phase. It definitely looks long, but you want to wait for that pullback, that next pullback down, and then once you get a pivot on that pullback, that's a good area to go long, right? But right now, it's just kind of working on this, kind of grainy, corrective phase up. But you can channel that here. Just kind of follow it up this channel and look for breaks of it to the upside or downside. It'll probably, if anything, it'll probably break to the downside. At which point, once that breaks, that's your working on your B wave, right? So you can short it there, below, a channel break on that. So I'm gonna look at there, square. Big push up today. Yeah, gosh, square has been just something else. Like I said the other day, it is tough to trade, but it has got through the pitchfork median line. It's kind of working its way back up at this point. So we'll see. I would look for a pivot and then just kind of see if it comes back down again, right? It's just the way square trades. It's just a little bit funky. So might give you a little push, pivot, and then back down. LVS. LVS. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, just trying to see like 1, 2, 3. Might be working on some sort of like long-term like corrective 4, like A, B, C, which might be in. It might be working on long-term wave 5 up. So if you are, just same thing with this one, right? Right, 1, 2, 3. Just wait till this kind of finishes its move up, and I would just I would channel this one as well. Just kind of see how it moves out that channel, and if you get a break to the downside, then that the next that B wave down is probably working as well. Square, and you're good. And your prime size is totally fine. If you can do it all and win is similar to LBS. Yeah, exactly. We did win up ahead, so you're good there. Chris, with Fibonacci, which specific bar do you set your mark, and how does that apply with the different time frames? If you can jump in tomorrow, Chris, we're gonna go over that tomorrow. So we're going to go over the different, where to use Fibonacci's and all that stuff. So that's going to be a whole lesson dedicated to that. But for the most part, key ones that I look at, right, are where wave 2 ends and where wave 4 ends, right? Because you want to jump on the impulsive waves, not the corrective waves, for the most part. So if this were a wave 1 down, you'd expect wave 2 to be anywhere over 0.618. Here it got all the way up to, or 78.6, right? Kind of came back down. But with wave 4s, they usually don't retrace that much. Wave 2s usually retrace 61.8. So, so for a wave 4, if this were like wave 3 down or something like that, this would make sense for a wave 4 to be at the 23.6 or the 38.2. Okay, so it's just each wave has kind of its own traditional way of behaving, and the Fibonacci's help you do that, right? We'll go over it more tomorrow too. Merit, what's going on? Yeah, so BBBY, we'll have earnings tomorrow. Yeah, so tomorrow after the close, and for me it doesn't matter because I'll look at the 15 orb on. In fact, it's tomorrow. Oh yeah, it's Thursday. I was like, because I'm going to plan on trading live at the open on Friday. So yeah, so I was hoping it would be available for Friday morning trading, but the 30-minute orb will be available, so we can look at it then. So yeah, I'll just wait for the 15-minute orb, and then we'll see which way it goes, right? But I don't know. It's been beaten up a lot, so you never know. They like to surprise sometimes. No problem, Ashley. My pleasure. Zig, what's going on? What do I think of Neo? Well, so we talked about it yesterday a little bit. So let me pull up the chart. So Neo is hanging in there, right? So it it did pretty good. It got down under $6, right? You can see this volume profile real well, right? So in this little kind of this channel here, there's a lot of volume, right? So it needs to get through that, right? So you're gonna see little spikes and dips and spikes and dips and all that stuff. Here it looks like kind of a wave 1 down, right? A, B, C. Wave 2 is done. It might be working on kind of a longer range wave 3. There's the idea that this could, if Chinese news good, Chinese trade news and all that stuff, it could get a real push. But really, it looks like it's got to get over this $8 and 30 cents for it to really kind of start to push. And then if it does, this thing could launch, for the most part. So, but gosh, it's got big. Look at that big drop there. Painful to be holding on to it if you are, So inside, remember here, inside week, break that to the downside. Kind of inside month right now. Actually, it's working on quadruple inside month, inside month, inside month, inside month, inside month. So that's big break either way. That's why you have so much volume in that area. So look at it if it breaks here below 584 or above, kind of 813, right? So 820 or 825, and then it should go. What's going on, Chang Li? Good to see you. Sorry. Sometimes when I move it, I get. Okay, so Neo. Jason, what's going on? What are the details of the so McDonald's. Yeah, it's going good. The first trade, hey, like I said, we're trading into FOMC stuff, but the setup is just right, so you have to take it. But it's going good. The first wave down after the corrective wave up, is a 5-wave down. So that tells you this is a zigzag correction. So it's zigzag down, ABC up, which happened to be another zigzag, and then now we're going to work on a zigzag down. So it should give us a nice sharp move to the downside is kind of the idea. So I said 170. That's about right here at this, kind of this reaction line. So I could definitely see it, see that working for us. I'm pretty pumped about it. So hopefully, I really want it to work. Drew, what's going on? SPY futures currently up. Yeah. Yep. So, but they're coming down a little bit. So, yeah. So it'd be nice to see everything just kind of, let's see McDonald's keep going down. What's going on? UNH, double inside day, move up today. Quoting for a move up. Let's see. So UNH. Yeah, almost a double inside day. So, if you go to my pin tweet thread, even though the real body, they're all contained, almost all contained within this mother bar right here. The wicks and the shadows have to be within each other, just sort of like a Russian doll. But yeah, it did give a nice consolidation though, so it's a, nice kind of consolidation right here, and then broke out. So see how well it holds it. Hasn't been getting a lot of big movement to the upside. It's been kind of like a short the rip type stock. So, but see, it might want to try at least the 20-day moving average, and then gosh, even the 200. But then probably would come back in again. So Brandon, no problem. Yeah, my pleasure. Oh, Kaisho, it killed you today. Hopefully the good side if you shorted it. Sorry if you. That 15 order was awesome though. The downside 10 points. I mean, that's the way to trade it. Jay Kosa, what's going on? How do you decide when to get out? When to get out with orb trade, support, resistance? Yeah, so VWAP is the general idea, right? Is pretty much the limit for me. So just say like Tesla, you go to the 60 time frame after you, let's say you got in it on the 15 orb. I would just make sure. I mean, obviously you take profit, right? So if you can move your stop up to profit as soon as possible, right? You're not going to be holding these things for days, right? These are not swing trades, right? So you're just looking to make money and get out, right? So give it some pretty good opportunities to do that here. But like I said, you can trade it by candles, just candlestick to candlestick. So it broke here, so you have a stop here, stop here, stop here, and stop here, and you would have been stopped there, right? I don't have the VWAP pulled up on this one, but if you just look at the 60s, as long as that could be your initial stop instead of putting it all the way up here, right, which is pretty dangerous, right? You could put it at the VWAP, and then as you're profitable, just keep moving your stop to profit, right? I know, man. It's tough. This is not an easy thing to do, right? So. But just do the best you can, right? So as long as you made profits and even if you left some on the table, as long as you're making money, that's good, right? You can always improve a little bit more down the line. Ash, when we say you should have enough liquid to call as puts, what does that mean? Basically what I'm saying is like, whatever you're trading, you want it to be liquid in terms of calls and puts. So Tesla is liquid, right? So, and you can tell that by open interest, right? So, right, so there's a lot of volume and a lot of open interest on Tesla, right? So that means it's liquid, right? So if you buy, 10 calls or puts, you can get out of it, right? Pretty easily because there's a market there for it. It's liquid, right? And then the next thing you look at is spreads, right? You see how the difference between the bid and the ask. You try to see like, you don't want that to be too big, right? Because as it moves like one tick down, instead of moving 30 cents down, it's really moving 60 cents down, and you can really get screwed, especially if you accidentally put on too much. Too much size. Karen, what's going on? Yeah, volume. Yeah, mostly volume I'm talking about. Yeah, volume and open interest. Volume and OI. Clayton, what's going on? So Bollinger Bands, yeah, so the 20 MA and 2 standard deviations above and below. So there's some nice YouTube videos about it and some interesting ideas on how to trade off them. Yeah, definitely, man. Have a good night, Clayton. Yeah, maybe we'll get something interesting, so that'd be good. All right, good night, AC. Yeah, my pleasure. Merritt, what's going on? Apple. Let's see. Apple was interesting. It put in a hanging man yesterday on the daily, and then it decided to break above it. So Apple actually had a pretty decent day. Got up to 150 again, but it still hasn't broken into the pitchfork range. Right. This is been pretty good resistance right here. So it might get a little bit upside again and then come back in. So That's kind of what's going on with Apple right now. Let's see. Tilray. Yeah, that's going to be a big day. That thing's going to go crazy. Yeah, that's a good point. B. Herms, that's definitely worth looking at the 15 or if you can remind me when we get there to look at it. I'm sure there'll be headlines on it too, but yeah, that's definitely worth looking at a 15 or that. Now, keep in mind, Tilray is just crazy, so you just got to be careful with that one. Just go low, if you can do comment on it, just do low shares on it and just have fun with it. No problem, Samir. My pleasure. Kevin, BBY or Crocs if time. Appreciate it. Share. Yeah, no problem, Kevin. So BBY. I think we looked at this the other day. Oh yeah, nice move. Nice move. So it got a nice hammer that pushed it back into the kind of this pitchfork range here. Yeah, it did have an inside day the other day. Yeah, and they kind of took that to the upside. So there you go, inside day, up, filled a gap, and then now it's back in the pitchfork. So it looks pretty, pretty bullish. I would expect some consolidation here around 55, 55.50. Then some more potential to the upside. What else? Sorry. Oh, and Crocs. Wow. Yeah, it's doing it, man. It's crazy. A little difficult to trade. I mean, options I think are kind of non-existent on it. Very limited volume on it, so not very liquid in terms of options. But shares-wise, yeah, I mean it's pushing. So it might be pivoting a little bit here, but overall long-term trend looks up. Maybe they're getting ready for an acquisition or something like that. Maybe Nike's going to buy them. And then if Nike buys them, that'll be the if they spend like $1 billion on them, then it should go down like we've been expecting. So yeah, 115. You're good. No, I know it's tough. I always forget the year. Thanks PDX, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, just gotta go on it. UNHID the upside. Nice, Scott. Double inside day, health conference. There you go. Kaisho, thanks. No problem. Yep, no problem. B Herms. Tilray, yep, exactly. Yeah, that or just the 15 orb on it would be good. Like we were talking about earlier. Jay Kosak, yeah, no problem. Martin Picasso, hey, what's going on, man? I haven't seen you. Let's say you're looking to short a 5-wave down to initiate your puts with the expectation of exiting on the first wave down. With closer expiration or longer expiration to ride it down 5 waves. Yeah, it depends on what time frame you're looking at, right? So if you're talking about daily time frame, what you want to do is go to the really I try to not go too far out, but I would go like maybe to the next month. McDonald's I just did because the price was good, right? 30 cents was just perfect because we only have $500 to work with. So it was just a perfect price, and it looks like it just started the the zigzag back down, and so that's why I got a close one. I didn't want to get too expensive and buy only be able to buy 2 calls on it. I want to get as much bang for our buck on it. But yeah, so if you're on a 5-wave down, let's go back to Apple, right? So Apple. It's hard to say with all those compressed moving averages. So Apple 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I understand you correctly, you're saying you're in the 5th wave, right? So what you want to do is a 5th wave, right? Waves 1, 3, and 5 are basically either going to be diagonals or impulse waves. So that's why 3s are the easiest to trade because so in this wave 3, right, you would say like wave 1, so that pullback, you want to buy that pullback there when it starts to pivot, and then you can do that. So it started to pivot here. You just look at the size of the waves, right? So any sort of impulse, the last impulse wave, let's just say, was from here to here, right? So that was about a month, right, or a little less than a month. And so so you'd look here if you see like that 3rd wave setting up, you'd buy kind of maybe if this was in November, you'd buy like the Decembers, and then just follow the rest of that wave down, and then you can get out early, right? So the closer you get, right, obviously because the theta, the cheaper they are, and you have to be very right. So I think we're going to be very right with McDonald's, so I kind of like that one, if that makes sense. The 20th, not sure if it is. Manoj, no problem. All right, guys. Surely I haven't seen any chart requests. Last chance. but we've done a bunch, so I think you kind of have been tracking and seeing where we're at on those. So if if you don't have a bunch of them, that's cool too. So, but I always look forward to your chart requests because they are usually unique and definitely show you. They're definitely unique, and they but they give a good perspective, right, on kind of what we're looking at. So, hey, what's going on? Why am I doing it free? I don't know, because I love doing it, and I get a lot out of it too, right? When you guys put chart requests out there, it gives me things to look at, and just kind of just practice. Helps with the skills, right? So, so yeah, and it helps other people too. So, I know. Just one chart request, Shirley? Oh, that's funny. But anyway, but I do always appreciate your chart requests. So, because you do come up with some really cool ones. So, but you kind of know where we're at with a lot of those. Hopefully, I'm sure you're doing well with all of them. A lot of them had a really good break, and today was a good update for you too. You should have been good. So, we have to learn your style of charting too one day. Maybe you can do like a guest appearance and kind of show how you trade your chart styles. So I don't know, Merritt. Well, maybe in a couple years or something like that. So depends how. Ultimately, I want to trade full time, right? So so I just need to get to the point where I'm making double the income I'm making at my job now, so I can work on doing that full time. And if that's the case, I'll figure out something cool, but I'll always do like stuff to try to help as many people as I can. So anyway, appreciate you guys. So if activity goes the other way, we're gonna I know, right? Exactly. So well, that's why we started small, right? So hopefully it works. I know. Yeah, hopefully it works out well. That'd be great. It's to give us some momentum going into the next ones, right? So, and we've been waiting, for it to come, and so, I decided to take it going into the Fed minutes, like just because it was just a good setup. So, oh, look up! You did do one. Did I skip over it somehow, Shirley? Did you do it early? I don't see it. Yeah, just scan through everything. I don't see anything there. Thanks, Jesse, man. Yeah, I appreciate it. YouTube account. There's nothing here, Shirley. Shirley, I don't see your. If you had chart requests, I don't see them. If you want to repost them real quick, I can get through them real quick. Otherwise, I'm going to bed. Yeah, I don't know what's going on, pal. I didn't think. I really, honestly, didn't think he was going until. I didn't think we had minutes until the end of January. But I guess they wanted to do some minutes and some updates. I don't know. Might not affect the market. Hopefully, honestly, hopefully it doesn't affect the market at all. And everything just trades like the setups are actually supposed to be. So yeah, Harvey, we looked at Win a little bit earlier. It's overall, I mean, it's looking kind of bullish, right? So it had the opportunity to go, kind of break this pitchfork to the downside, and then it said, no, I don't want to stay down there. Kind of came back up, and then now it's kind of working on some sort of upside pattern, right? So probably some sort of ABC correction, and then will eventually probably work itself up. So this is a tough one to trade, though, Harvey. Though it gets a little bit tricky. Jesse, I haven't. I tend not to trade indexes, or I don't know why, but I haven't seen that. But that is a good idea to look at. How high could Tilray go? Yeah, exactly. 300. It can go as high as it wants to, man. That thing's nuts. But I don't know. It'll probably just be wild. And the way I see we were too, I mean, it could go 50 points. It's just, I mean, it could be all consolidated and people just gonna load into it, So we'll see. But if they're putting out more shares, it'll probably go down, right? Because they're saturating it. So yeah, so we'll see how China does. Just posted. Surely, I'm telling you, I am not seeing it. So you wrote there in the chat, YouTube account, just posted it, and there's can you just type one name individually? It would be nice. Okay, so ALSN. Just give me a few. Just give me like 5 or 6, because I'm not good at bed. So ALSN. Let's see what we got. Okay, Allison Transmissions, cool. We found one that we haven't looked at yet. This is looking like, okay, so wave 1 down, right? Maybe, I want to say that's not really an ABC. So A, B, maybe working on a C back up. So it might kind of come back up to this 47 level to finish 2, and then it looks like it would go back down from there. In general, you can see how there. So I put that median line there, guys, like how it's kind of right there. So just watch out. I mean, it kind of might come here, but might kind of consolidate around that area again, and then that will be your wave 2, and then looks like it might do like a wave 3 type situation down there. Yep, change your name. Shirley Temple. That's funny. That's why I stay away. Bond situation. Not too sure about bonds. I don't really get in this. I just don't have time to explore all that stuff. But okay, so Foxa, let's see. Foxa looks like this. Oh, goodness gracious, look at how it's been staying in that range. I mean, those are your breakout levels, right? So you wait until it gets over that 50-15, or below 44-20, or as you just kind of trade those levels between it. See how it's just been kind of down and then up and then down. But when here it was down, it's like really consolidated for a while. Yeah, so just be on the lookout for that. This could be like some sort of A expanded flat, right? So A almost kind of going over it, maybe B back down, too. But big gap below. So if it ever gets below here, that kind of that 44 level, probably go for that gap, right? And then of course it gets over 50-15. Might see some new recent highs, so that'd be good. Glue. That's looking good. For one of the penny stocks. Gosh, you do find some amazing ones. I was down 173 and already up to $8. These trade better than options, right? So just be careful, right? Probably come back in and watch out. Handles at 775, and look for seeing that one go back up there. CCJ. Still doing its thing. Continue to push for you, so that's really good. Yeah, keep an eye out where it gets. If it gets over 1250, right, might come in a little bit and then try to break through that pitchfork. COLD. Americold Realty. Gosh, that's such a cool ticker. Like you'd think it would be like an ice making company or something like that. Again, similar here. It looks like it's holding between these levels. Big support here at 2097. Found resistance here at 28, right? And kind of came through this middle of this area right here, and it's coming back up. So so just watch that. Nice MACD. All the all the indicators here are kind of pointing to that up, type move. So just keep an eye on that too. It's gonna run into resistance at about 27, right? So let's keep an eye on that. BRFS. It'd have to break out eventually. 650 might be a good breakout area. Then you got some gaps to fill. Then work its way up. But it does look like it's kind of leveling out here, right? And the longer, what is it? The longer. There's some sort of saying, I can't remember. It's like the longer the. Sorry. So like the longer the glare, the longer the air. I can't remember. Anyway, yeah, but good consolidation there over 650 would be interesting. And then bios. Great ticker names. Look at how it's kind of holding that level. Yeah, if we can get over 425, it looks pretty interesting. But all the way down from 98 cents. I mean, there was the first thing I was ever interested in penny stocks, and I was just never able to make any money because I would hold them forever. And but this isn't going anywhere. And then as soon as you get out, they're up to $10. So, but this is this is looking good. It's kind of it needs to break out again over here over $4. I think if we do that, you can probably get to 450 on that one. Tilray can move. Oh yeah, it sure could. That's a good point. Finish a WXY curve. Yeah, nice. Yeah, absolutely. And then load up on Tilray. Call say it. Nice. Hey, I hope it works out for you, man. I'm rooting for you. Shirley, thanks for posting those again. I didn't see them; they didn't show up in the chat. So, but I always appreciate your stuff. So, all right, guys, it's bedtime. So appreciate you guys joining, and thanks for following along on the $550,000 challenge. Hopefully tomorrow I'll give us some great setups. Will give us a great push to the downside on our McDonald's trade. So the market's ready to roll over if or it's ready to teach me how to go along either way. So, but we won't. We'll be smart with it. So carrying the obligations. Yep, all that stuff. All right, have a good night, Modern Picasso. Have a good night, Jesse. Good to see you, man. And thanks, Shirley. Appreciate you. All right, guys. Have a great night. I will talk to you all tomorrow, and have a good trading day. All right. Talk to you later.